Good morning to all and welcome to the session. Am I audible now? I want one of you to respond. Good morning to all of you. Fine. So you can see the front page Delhi edition on the left. On the right, you can see the editorial page. Today, if you look at the editorials, one is about the incident that happened in Kerala. It's about a boat getting capsized. And the second editorial is all about COVID 19, internationally important topic. I chose that topic. And you have the main editorial, it is about India's China strategy, needs to be uh, debated. And one more related to Buddhism. So let us go to, before we go to the editorial vocabulary, today you're going to work on Jumble, Cloze Test, and phrase replacement, word meanings. Let us start the session with editorial vocabulary. Today's editorial, a familiar one, grammar point of view, not something very important. Vocabulary also, a lot of familiar words. So let us have a look at the first word. Vigilance, part of speech noun. Vigilant, adjective form. Vigilance, noun form. More careful attention, especially in order to notice possible danger. When you feel there is a threat, then you try to be vigilant. An important word. The second one, confer. It is a verb. To give an official title, honor, or advantage to someone. And here, usually what happens, it goes with awards. But in this context, it goes with a different combination. Certitude is an important word and a new word we have got for the first time. Part of speech noun. The state of being certain or confident. It's an important word you have to remember. Wane, usually it goes with moon, a particular phase, part of speech, verb or adjective. Usually it is a verb, and to become weaker in strength or influence. Usually it goes with the moon. Topper, we have got this for the first time, a new word. The state of not being active and having no energy or enthusiasm. It means something like being exhausted, being tired. Invoke, we have got many a time. Part of speech verb. Usually it goes with God's religion. To request help from someone, especially a God, when you want to improve a situation. And urge is also an important word. It goes with effective English. Part of speech verb. To strongly advise or try to persuade someone to do a particular thing. You can also, lethargy, that's a good word. You can also think of the word urge means to request a lot, but formal English. Fatigue, noun, fatigue can be a verb. Here it has been used as a verb. To make someone extremely tired. Complacency is an important word, though we have got a few times. Part of speech, noun. Today I'm going to give the word forms of this particular word. A feeling of calm satisfaction with your own abilities or situation that prevents you from trying harder. You're happy with whatever you have and you don't want to try further. Then we use the word complacency. It has a negative connotation. Hygiene, it goes with everyday English, a medical term, part of speech noun, the degree to which people keep themselves or the environment clean. It goes more with cleanliness, especially to prevent disease. Adhere, we have got many a time. Part of speech verb, adherence, noun. To stick firmly. Usually it goes with rules and regulations and also law. So, an important word. As I said, today's editorial, to be very frank, not difficult. from grammar point of view, not something, there's nothing to learn as such except a few words. And also vocabulary, not too many words. And many of these words, since we have done so many editorials on COVID 19, many words are familiar words and should not be that difficult to understand. Now, let us have a look at the headline, how the editorial begins of hope and vigilance. It talks about two dimensions. One, based on the World Health Organization, the statement. One is hope. It has created the hope. At the same time, a caution, and the word is vigilance, an important word. Part of speech noun, vigilant adjective, vigilance noun. To be more careful or more careful attention, especially in order to notice possible danger. When you perceive some sort of threat, you try to be alert, then we use this term. Announcement that the COVID 19 pandemic is no longer a global health emergency. Based on this statement, what is a statement? COVID 19 pandemic, an important word. Who is this? Got selected in UCO Bank, Karnataka. Undefined. Congratulations. Wish you a bright future. So, here no longer a global health emergency, no longer an important phrase. Then coming to the main idea, the World Health Organization's announcement. As I said, this editorial is all about the announcement made by the World Health Organization, and there are two dimensions. One, based on the announcement, it talks about the hope, and the other, at the same time, it there is a caution. One has to be vigilant. So, the World Health Organization's announcement gives a hope on the one hand, but there is a message of caution on the other hand. Two dimensions. The world's lived experience with pandemics. I'm sure you guys know the word pandemic. Pandemic. Usually, we talk about when we talk about pandemic, we you should think of three words. One is endemic, second is epidemic, third is pandemic. Endemic is related to a disease that is restricted to a small region. Then we use the word endemic, endemic disease. And if the disease is spread across a country or larger area, then we use the word epidemic. At the same time, imagine a disease across the different countries, across the world, then we use the word pandemic. The world's lived experience with pandemics has conferred it with whatever you see in green, grammar related, whatever you see in red, vocab related, has conferred it with. Here it is in present perfect, and this word confer to give an official title, honor, or advantage to someone. And usually it goes with awards and titles, but here a different context altogether. With pandemics has conferred it with the certitude. This is a new word, and whenever you come across new words, you have to be a little careful and you have to isolate those new words and difficult words, and you have to spend some time and you have to revise regularly. Only then you'll be able to remember. Coming to the word certitude, what does it mean? Part of speech noun, the state of being certain or confident. So has conferred it with the certitude, certainty that epidemics wane to die down. Wane, an important word, part of speech, verb actually, not an adjective. And what does it mean? To become weaker in strength or influence. Any endemic or epidemic or pandemic has to wane, means become weaker, eventually to die down. Initially very strong, then it becomes weak, and eventually it may die down or transform into seasonal outbreak. Whenever it comes to a pandemic, initially strong, then slowly it becomes weak or wanes, and eventually or finally it dies down. Or there's another possibility. What is that possibility? It may change into seasonal outbreak, then not a threat. COVID 19 is no exception. As I said, I have brought grammar point of view. Whatever you see in green, you have to be a little alert and you have to remember. Usually we say not an exception, that is one pattern. So some students may think no exception, is it right? Absolutely no problem. You can say COVID 19 is not an exception, that is one pattern. We can also say COVID 19 is no exception, either way it is correct. Now it comes to the statement. The World Health Organization Director General Tedros last week declared, last week time in past, so here the verb is in past. On the basis of advice, this is an important word from the exam point of view. A simple word, but they've given more than 20 times. What is the reason? Whenever you come across two words, one is practice, the other one is advice, you got to be a little careful. There are two spellings, ADVISE, that is a verb form, and VICE is a noun form. Here it is a noun that you have to immediately recollect. The same thing goes with practice. TISE is a verb form and TICE is a noun form. They have given many a time because under pressure, not easy to differentiate. You take things for granted. You got to be a little careful. On the basis of advice from the emergency committee, comprising independent experts. And before I talk about this, one more aspect you have to recollect based on advice. This is an abstract noun, and there is one important rule. What is it? Before abstract nouns, we should not use any article. And a common error, a lot of people say, he has given me an advice, not correct. He has given me advice, or he has given me a piece of advice. So do remember, no article if you use it as a noun on the basis of advice from the emergency committee comprising independent experts. I told yesterday also, comprise does not take the preposition of, but consist takes the preposition of, comprising independent experts, that the COVID 19 pandemic was no longer, another important phrase you have to remember, a public health emergency of international concern. In the past, it was considered a public concern, public health emergency of international concern. But based on the statement here, it is not, the statement says no longer it is not considered a public health emergency of international concern or international significance. Again, the word I should have brought it in green. Concern is an important word. You have to recollect something. What is that? A common error when someone goes to a particular office says, I would like to meet the concerned person. That is wrong. It means the person has concern for you. You are a stranger. Why will the person have concern for you? So, what is the correct sentence when you go to some office? You have to say, I would like to meet the person concerned, not concerned person. Concerned person, wrong. Person concerned means related to that particular work or that particular department. So don't say concerned person, you have to say person concerned. That you have to remember. After over 3 years, he was reading down. He was reading down past continuous tense. After over 3 years, he was reading down an emergency that he first announced on January 30th, 2020, on the onset of COVID 19, forced by a rapidly spreading infection that moved from China to 20 other nations across the world. I would like to tell you guys, do remember today's editorial, a familiar one, and we have done many a time. Language is very simple, so I will not spend too much time on explaining the meaning of the sentence. It is easy to understand. I will focus on the vocabulary and also grammar point of view, whatever is important. Do remember that. Dr. Tedros notably invoked, this is an important word. Actually, it goes with religion, but here, invoke what? Usual combination, invoke God, invoke spirits, but here, invoke hope. When he declared, invoke means what? To request help from someone, especially a God, when you want to improve a situation. That is one meaning. Another meaning goes with law. Invoke law means to use the law or the legal dimension. Invoke hope when he declared that COVID 19 was over as a global health emergency. Was over as a global health emergency. Till before the statement, it was considered global health emergency of international concern. Now it is not. Was over as a global health emergency, but followed it up with a rider, means a caution. That is an important expression you have to remember. What is that rider? It did not mean COVID 19 was no longer a global health threat. Still, the threat is there, but provided you be a little careful or alert. Otherwise, it may again surface. That's what it means. Over the months leading up to the announcement, various experts with the World Health Organization were laying the ground. I gave two verbs yesterday, lie, lay. So here lay, laid, laid. To put something down. Usually it goes with a foundation stone, roads, rules and regulations, and also eggs, things, babies, all these. So laying what? The ground means preparing the ground. Urging that. Urging, urge means to request a lot, one meaning. To persuade someone to do something, another meaning, urging that it was time to treat COVID quite like seasonal influenza. Now, it is not that, it is not a threat, no longer a threat. And based on that, how should it be treated? It should be treated as a seasonal influenza, means a seasonal disease. For a world fatigued by great loss, the word fatigue usually goes with effective English and it is used as a noun, but here it has been used as a verb. So, fatigue means to get exhausted, to get tired. Fatigue also means the same, to make someone extremely tired, to take out the energy. For a world fatigued by great loss, human and otherwise, the impact of COVID 19 caused by the COVID pandemic and exhaustively on guard means alert. The DG's announcement brought a collective sigh of relief, an important expression. The world has been on guard, but now, based on the statement, Director General's statement, it has brought a collective sigh of relief. Now we can relax to a great extent because it is no longer a threat and not at the international level. However, there's a rider. What is that rider? Rider means caution. So contrasting information. However, the task now for World Health Organization and nations is to ensure that this announcement is not selectively received. That means what? Some countries may accept, may receive, some countries may overlook. It should not be like that. Everyone has to look at it very carefully, receive it properly, and make sure people still follow the COVID behavior or the precautions to be taken. To prevent, why should we do that? To prevent the world from slipping into a torpor of complacence. So we take things for granted, then what may happen? What could be the impact? We may slip into a torpor, a new word we have got for the first time. Then you have to spend some time and remember. Torpor means a state of not being active and having no energy or enthusiasm. Someone has used the word lethargy. Yes, very slow and sluggish. Another word you have to recollect, lethargic, sluggish, torpor of complacence. This is the word of the day. There's one slide you are going to see at the fag end of the session. Generally, we use the noun form complacency, but we can also use complacence, part of speech noun. General expression, there are two forms. They prefer this one, complacency. A feeling of calm satisfaction with your own abilities or situation that prevents you from trying harder. So you relax, complacent, that is not a good thing. Here, fur in green means what? It is used as a conjunction. Here it means because, reason. So, for, because, since, as, they all express, they have the same function as conjunctions. They express the reason. Why? For COVID is not over. Multiple variants and subvariants continue to emerge regularly, and it has not yet settled into a seasonal pattern that one can read or prevent. So new variants will emerge on and off. We cannot take things for granted, and we cannot decide that we cannot conclude that it has settled into a seasonal pattern that one can read or prevent. Because we cannot do that, we have to be vigilant all the time. The second dimension. And the word yet is important. Here it's a lengthy sentence, so it has come in the middle of the sentence. But imagine, and there are two or three clauses. Imagine there is only one idea, then we have to use the word yet. It should be at the end of the sentence. The train hasn't come yet. They haven't come yet. They haven't yet come, not correct. The word yet should be at the end of the sentence. But there's another expression. If you ask someone, have they come? Then the answer could be yet to come. Yet to come, nothing wrong. It is right. At any point of time, an important expression you have to remember, at any point of time, If it is possible that a new variant or recombinant may lead to rapid transmission and cause severe disease. So the threat is always there. We cannot take things for granted. We cannot relax. It is possible that a new variant or recombinant may lead to. Here it is in green, that means grammar point of view, the helping verb may. There are two helping verbs you have to recollect. One is may, the other one might. May, it has two functions. One function, it is used to express a possibility, chances are more. And the second function is very important. It is used to express permission, very polite in a formal situation. A typical example, I'm sure you all know, may I come in, sir? And the second function, possibility, more chances. When it comes to might, that also expresses a possibility, but chances are less. That you have to recollect. May lead to rapid transmission and cause severe disease, resulting in hospitalizations and even higher mortality rates. Mortality means a death rates. As global health experts continue to insist for health systems, eternal vigilance is essential. Eternal means forever. I should have brought it in red. Vigilance, being alert, is essential. As I said, we cannot take things for granted. Any time it may erupt. To maintain a level of care and periodically test their capacity to respond to epidemic situations. Now it talks about important organizations, the impressive network of INSACOG laboratories capable of genetic sequencing and even routine health infrastructure built up during the COVID years must be utilized well. Here it is in passive voice, so important from grammar point of view. We must utilize something. Something must be utilized. So remember, it is in passive voice. It is also important to not take the foot off the pedal. Take the foot off the pedal means not to relax in terms of research and development into vaccine platforms, drug delivery systems, antivirals, and antibiotics. Again, when you come across the word anti, you got to be alert. You have to recollect we have one is anti, the other one anti. Anti, the first one means against. Anti, the second one means before. And a typical combination antenatal means before birth and postnatal after birth. That you have to recollect. This we have. It talks about we cannot relax, not to take the foot off the pedal. What is the reason? We are always vigilant, alert. This will enable nations to be prepared and on guard, not just for COVID 19, but also other emerging infections. So once you are vigilant, obviously any emergency you will be able to tackle or handle. At a personal level, so what are we supposed to do at the personal level? At a personal level, another important expression you have to remember, individuals will benefit from following the hygiene. Hygiene, generally it goes with everyday English. It also goes with, it's a medical term. The degree to which people keep themselves or the environment clean, hygienic condition. So cleanliness, especially to prevent disease and precautions that became a habit during the COVID years. One thing, individual level, we have to maintain the hygiene, and then we have to, if you remember, when the COVID, during the COVID years, certain things were demanded. They became a habit during the COVID years. What are those things? Particularly adhering to the vaccination schedule. Adhere means to stick to. One, and following hand hygiene, washing your hands, another, and masking under certain circumstances. So these things have to be followed, and then we can be ready to deal with the pandemic anytime. That's all about today's editorial, rather easy because a familiar one, simple language, and familiar words. Let us go to the questions based on this editorial, comprehension based questions. What is this editorial about? You have to write in brief. What was declared was no longer public here. What was declared no longer a public health emergency of international concern. Based on the keywords, you have to navigate, locate, and write the answer. What brought a collective sigh of relief in the context of the editorial? Again, easy to answer. What is the task now for World Health Organization? The task now for. Again, easy to answer based on the key words. What will enable nations to be prepared and on guard, not just for COVID 19, but also other emerging infections? So, something has to be done. What are those things? Again, easy to answer. Now let us go to practice questions based on exam topics. As I said, today you're going to work on phrase replacement, para jumble, close test, not simple format, and also vocabulary, words and meanings. And the last slide deals with word of the day. So try to have a look at whatever you see in red, that is a phrase, may be right, may not be right. And first you have to decide. Nothing wrong, no correction required. But it is not correct, you have to choose one of the options. Please read the first one. After American regulators seized control of a collapsing Silicon Valley bank, the fallout felt unpleasant familiar. Is it? First decide right or wrong. If you think it is not correct, you have to choose one of the options. Here, the fallout felt how. Then you have to use an adverb. Unpleasant is not right. Oh, Anusha has written in brief. Yes, very good. I appreciate that. Essence of the gist of that. So, given sentence is not correct, the phrase is not correct. The fallout, we cannot say fallout. It has been used as a noun. Fallout, we cannot change the verb form. The fallout is wrong. The fallout felt unpleasantly familiar. How did it feel? You need an adverb. Unpleasantly familiar. Familiar, but how? Unpleasantly familiar. And the fallout feels we cannot use. It has to be in the fallout felt. It should be in past. Fallout felt unpleasantly here. The fallout, not simply fallout. So the is missing. So what is the answer based on that? B is the answer. A lot of students have got it right. Very good. Let us go to the second one. A pack of hungry headhunters have descended on Europe's financial quarters. I appreciate all those students, Anusha, Rajeshri, Anil, Swapna, Hema, all these have got it right. Fallout means the negative impact of a particular event or incident. That's a good question. Who is this? Vasudev. Fallout of a particular incident or event means the negative impact. The negative impact of a particular event or incident. Usually it has a negative connotation. Here you have to focus on the subject. What is the subject? Pack. That is a collective noun. Of hungry headhunters is a phrase. After the subject, if you see a phrase or a clause, you have to put it in brackets. Don't consider. Pack is third person singular. Then we cannot use have. Not correct. Had, here there is no time and it talks about a past action. Past action, time is not important, action is important. We cannot use past perfect. We have to use present perfect. But here has been descended. We cannot use passive voice. Has descend? No. Present perfect or any perfect tense, the main verb is always in past participle form. Based on that, a pack of hungry headhunters has descended on Europe's financial quarters. Very good. A lot of students have got it right. Venkatesh, those who have said D, that is right. I appreciate all those students. Go to the third one. Kasahara Yoshihisa, boss of Higo Bank, a lender in Japan's south, beams with pride as he explains plans to lift wages. You got to read carefully. No one has responded. Question number 3. How come so long? Vasudev, very good. First one to respond. The subject here, a person, third person singular. and the sentence is in present tense. Beams with pride. Beam with pride, a standard expression, nothing wrong. Why? As he explains, again the verb is in present tense. Subject is third person singular. We should add s or es to the verb. Beams explains, nothing wrong. I appreciate all the students. It demands a lot of confidence to answer, to choose the last option. No correction required. That is perfect. Perfect sentence. No need to touch the sentence. There are 3,000 players, each of who is holding a different number of cards. Some have thousands, others a handful. So, whatever you see in red may be right, may not be right. First, you have to decide whether it is right or wrong. This is a little challenging. You got to be a little careful. Usually, students get confused between who and whom. So, someone says A, someone says B. Here, generally, we use the word that refers to the object or the object form. Each of them, each of who is not correct. Here, each of whom is correct. Is holding. Each means singular, and we have to use a singular verb. A different number of cards. Answer is the first one. Each of whom are is not correct. Each of whose is not correct. Each of which, we are talking about persons, so we cannot use which. Answer is the first option. A lot of students have got it right. But under pressure, it is not easy. Do remember. When the IMF meets for its spring jamboree in Washington on April 10th, they will once again be confusion about their purpose. Manoj, how are you? It will be continued, don't worry. Vishwanath, please look at question number 5. Here we are talking about IMF singular, then we cannot say their purpose. And they will once again be confused. No, they will be confused, right? Not there. They will once again be confusion. Here we cannot use they. They will once again be confusion about its purpose. They will once again be confusing. No, will be what? Confusion. Based on that, answer is C. C is the answer. As I said, this is not that easy. There will once again be what? Ask a question. Confusion. We have to use a noun. About its purpose. IMF, third person singular. Its purpose. And you have to recollect possessive pronouns, we cannot use the apostrophe. This is a bit challenging. Now let us go to para jumble. You have 6 sentences. Should not be that difficult. Should be able to get. But take elimination approach. Have contributed. There's no subject. In the 3 years since then cannot be the first one. People are looking for a villain, and here it cannot be the first one because based on something, people are looking for a villain. A pollster, a third of Americans believe. So there's no subject. In the 3 years, in the 3 years before COVID-19, rich world consumer prices rose by a total of 6%. First one is E. Yes, of course, a few questions you have to be meticulous. You're right, Anusha. That is the right word. Extremely careful or cautious while reading the sentence. So, what is the first sentence? Has anyone responded? E is the first one. In the 3 years before COVID-19, rich world consumer prices rose by a total of 6%. After that, it becomes easy. In the 3 years since means since then, after COVID 19. This is a clue for you. They should have used since then. Had they used since then, it would have been easy. But still, you should be able to. No, no. Second is B. In the 3 years before COVID 19, rich world consumer prices rose by a total of 6%. In the 3 years since 2020, now 2023, in the 3 years since then, they have risen by close to 20%. From 6%, they rose to 20%. So EB. Based on this, it is something negative. The people are looking for a villain. So what is the next one? And firms often top the list. They blame the companies. Answer is people are looking for a villain. Who is a villain? The companies, the firms means companies. To substantiate that, according to a recent survey by Morning Consult, here, F, who is this Morning Consult? A pollster. A third of Americans believe that companies' attempts to maximize profits have contributed the most to inflation, more than any other factor by far. So obviously, FDA. These three, one idea. So has anyone got this order? EBC, FDA. And I'm bringing parajumbles from international magazines, an important magazine. Usually they use this magazine. In the exam, you may get something like this. Who is this? EBCFD, FDA. Again, B should not be there. EBCFDA. That's right, Anusha and Manoj. Perfect. No, not that difficult because here, first you take elimination approach. Then what stands out? E stands out. That should be the first one. In the 3 years before COVID 19. And second is easy based on the word since. Since then. In the 3 years since means since 2020 or since COVID 19, onset of COVID 19. And after that, from 6% to 20%, not something positive, negative. And who is responsible? Firms are responsible. Immediately, you have to choose C. And this is based on what? According to a recent survey by Morning Consult, and what is this firm? A pollster. A third of Americans believe that companies' attempts to maximize profits, then there should be a verb, have contributed. Easy. Based on that, FDA. Let us go to a simple cloze test to begin with. Later, I'll bring a little complicated exam pattern point of view with options, but this is only to make you guys understand the context. Based on the context, whether you can select the right word or not without the options. That you have to first develop. Then options don't matter. When you read a sentence, you understand the context. Before you go to the options, you should know the word. If you reach that stage, you're ready for the exam. And you have the competitive edge. Very good. Who is this? Vasudev. Wonderful. First one to respond. After a hurricane has passed, there is a period of calm that can feel. When there is a hurricane, everyone is disturbed. And it passed, then, and there's a state of period of calm. You feel very happy, ecstatic, euphoric. So, what is the right word here? Third one, euphoric. Perfect. Survival is no longer, generally, there is a standard expression, something as is at, first you respond, then I will complete. Very good. Again, Anusha has got it right. Something at stake. His life is at stake. The stakes are very high. Two expressions you have to remember. Based on that, first one, survival is no longer at stake. Then once the relief begins to fade, it is time to assess the damage. First you are scared, then you relax and you feel happy it is over. Then you try to assess the damage. What destruction has been? It is in passive voice. What destruction has been? Present perfect passive voice. What is the third word? No one has responded. The third one. If one student responds, no, 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 no. Here, what destruction has been wrought? Fourth word is a right word. What destruction has been caused? So, wrought is a right word, caused. How difficult will it be to recover? This sequence will be familiar to anyone who has been paying attention to American banks this year. In the days that followed the sudden failure of Silicon Valley Bank, once the country's 16th largest lender, as well as two other banks, panic and fear, panic and fear ripped through. Very good. It's a phrasal verb, rip through, means a tear through. So answer is the fifth word. And what are you left with? Now, though the storm seems to have passed, certainly no lender has been imperiled. Peril means danger. Imperiled. No one has been in danger. Has anyone got all the five correct? That is highly appreciable. See, in the past, I would bring this exercise based on the same day's vocabulary. But now I have changed. You got these words yesterday. You got the words, meanings, parts of speech, all to cause damage, wreak havoc. There's one important expression means cause damage. Destruction has been caused by what? What destruction has been caused? So these words from yesterday's editorial after one day. So in a way, you can test your memory. Embrace, first you have to write the part of speech, then you have to write the meaning. Means what? You have to choose H. What is H here? Accept something enthusiastically. Very good. H is the answer. Lavish. First you have to write the part of speech. Lavish event, lavish coronation. Think of the combinations as well. That means the adjective. Lavish, one of the meanings based on the editorial context, something very impressive or large. So what is the answer? Has anyone responded? Large in quantity and expensive and also impressive. Answer is I. Coronation, obviously part of speech noun. A ceremony at which a person is made a king or a queen. So answer is A. Yesterday's editorial all about coronation of Prince Charles, making him the king. Culmination. Whenever you see TION, it's a noun. Culminate verb. Culmination means what? Someone has, Hema has responded F. Reaching the final stage, series of events, and finally it reaches a peak, culmination of something. Very good. Answer is F. And reign, REIN is different, REIGN is different. Noun. So what does it mean? Fifth one. Has anyone responded? Reign means what? The period of time when a king or queen rules or a particular party rules. So answer is J. Deference, part of speech noun. And what does it mean? Respect and politeness. Try to respond quickly. We are running out of time. And Samaritan, good Samaritan, a typical combination. Means what? Someone who gives a helping hand to someone who is in need. Answer is C. Prior, comparative adjective. It takes the preposition to. That also you have to recollect. So adjective. To be specific, comparative adjective. Means what? Happening before. Answer is D. Nothing happened to me. I was quite busy, hectic schedule, and also no exam in the near future. Now the time you have down the line 3 months, exams May, June, July. If you take RRB, no English prelims, RRB PO, RRB clerk, but August you have IBPS, then this is the time to start. I have resumed at the right time. You have to take it that way. Your turnover, wonderful, passionate person, part of speech adjective. To have strong emotions or feelings, where is that? Answer is G. And rift part of speech noun. Rift, what are you left with? This is over. Serious disagreement. Good morning. Who is this? Nani. A little late. So that's all about from yesterday's editorial. The vocabulary. It is good if you have got all the 10 correct. You should be happy because they are not from today's editorial. Yesterday's editorial. After one day, that means your memory is good. Word of the day, complacency, an important word. Complacency, usually we use this form. You can also say complacence, noun. A feeling of calm satisfaction with your own abilities or situation that prevents you from trying harder. It has a negative connotation. Generally, we say don't become complacent. There is no room for complacency, a standard expression you have to remember. No room for complacency. That means you cannot relax if you want to stay in this competition. You cannot afford to be complacent. You have to be on your toes all the time. Complacent adjective. We can't afford to become complacent about any of our products. Complacent nature. So adjective. He has done something complacently. Adverbial form. What are the synonyms? Smugness, an important word. Self satisfaction, easy. Self approval, easy. But try to remember the word smugness. Antonyms: unhappy, dissatisfied, easy words. But try to remember discontent, same meaning, not happy. So that's all about today's editorial. Do remember to subscribe and share. Thanks for being with me till the end of the session. Have a nice day. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.